Welcome to WO50 podcast, Women Over 50 in Body Wisdom and Wellness.
Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Corrine, and I'm here with my BFF, Eddi. Welcome to 2024. In this episode, our title is New Year's New Bites, Superfoods Ignite 2024, to ignite 2024. And this is an awesome episode because, of course, we have my BFF, Dr. Eddi, who's an amazing naturopath, and she shares, what did you share, Ed? So much.
Oh, we tapped into what's in our cupboards and what is on the labels and how to read them and how to change it out. And
what is processed food? What is a packaged food? Why to eat it and why not to eat it?
What are the superfoods?
Yes, that was amazing to go into the superfoods. We did share a few recipes. Yeah, we had. Yeah, so we hope you enjoy this episode of our new year, and I hope you're having an awesome new year. Hello, BFF.
Hello, BFF. Don't you look all nice and shiny and bright?
Thanks. A little Christmassy red. I guess a little red in here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I have Christmas blue.
Yeah. Like the Elvis song, Blue Christmas. There you go. You're so good at those. So yes. we decided to press record because, we always are talking. When we first got on, we were talking about how incredibly different our lives are. Like sometimes when and I do this with my sister too, whenever I hear about everything she's done in a day, I get tired just listening to it, like just reading it. And it's with you too. It's like what you get done and what your responsibilities and everything that you do is like, it just makes me grateful for my quiet life even more. But I know that you love your life just as much as I love my life, even though it can be overwhelming.
Our lives, yeah, it's interesting what flows in and out each day, and the lists are, and this time of year, the list is like, okay, I got to get this done and this done. But at the end of the day, what's changed for me as I've gotten older is that it doesn't matter if the list gets done, because something might change in the midst of my day, and I'll go, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Like, it's not like I'll wear myself out till I get it done.
You have a good balance. You have even though you have a lot on your plate, you take time for yourself. You know how to balance it, right? It's Absolutely. The people that have everything on their plate, but then they don't nurture and take care of themselves. That's the key. And that's what we're going to talk about in this episode, because this is the first episode of 2024. And I don't love New Year's resolutions. I think you don't either. But I do love sort of using the energy that the whole world is thinking about as we are in a new year. They're kind of looking at a reset, looking at things in a different way, maybe making some changes. There's more energy in that direction. And if you kind of plug into that, they can be quite powerful. And also to people around you are wanting to shift and change and maybe add new things or take new things away. So our topic is New Year, New Bites, Superfoods to Ignite 2024. So this is going to be a Dr. Eddi episode where she gives us all kinds of information about what's in your cupboard, what should be in your cupboard, what is a processed food and packaged what, why is there a problem with that, like packaged cabbage or packaged organic celery, pre-cut kind of thing, all the way to, ultra processed foods, and also a superfood list I think you have for us too, right?
Yes. And, it's interesting. I say this quite often in my office. If you can't read what's on the label, that's really good, because celery doesn't have a label. An apple doesn't have a label. Potatoes, no label. So fruits and vegetables don't have a label, which means what you see is what you get. Now, we also have, to be careful over where the foods are coming from and how we wash them and all that. But we're going to keep it simple to what's in our cupboard, because we know everything that goes into the cupboard, it has a label, and it has a package, and it's in a box or a bag. And, just looking at what's on the label is real important. It's really important, because often the first ingredient and the last ingredient makes a big difference, because the first ingredient has the bulk of what's in it, and the last ingredient has the least amount. So it's usually in order, unless they've changed that too. But it's usually in order of amounts.
At least it is in North America.
Yes. Yes. Yes, and we can read it. And again, if you can't read what's on the ingredient list, that's another sign. If does your body know what to do with it? If you don't even know how to pronounce it or don't even know what it is, so look it up and read about it or scan it, right? Like the Yucca app that we introduced on our favorite things, YUKA, and it's got a little
Yeah.
carrot on it. And I scan lots of things all the time and get that rating. And yeah, I love it. I
Yeah. So
love
if
it.
you haven't listened to that episode, it's the Yucca app, and I'll link that below as well. It's a free app to scan your to things what and it has a 0 to 100 about what's good for you, what the if there's bad ingredients in it or good ingredients or whatever.
I
So
had
that's
a
great.
yeah, it is. And I had a young young new teenager in my office, and she wanted to get healthy. So she sat with her mom, and that was the first thing I said to her was because everybody has a different communication, right? Like you can get a message across to someone in a different way. It's like a book. You can give someone a book to read, and
Mm-hmm.
5 people don't get it and
Mm-hmm.
25 get it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's the same in our language and in our messaging. So I said to her, I want you, after this visit, go home, take a picture of what's in your cupboard, and everything that has white flour in it or says the word enriched, just pull it out, out of your cupboard and just put it on the counter and take a picture of it and send it to me. And then take a picture of what's left in your cupboard that has maybe 2 or 3 ingredients in it. And none of them are white flour or enriched. So I get this text pretty close to like 9 o'clock at night. They had left my office at 3 that day. And the little one says, there's nothing in our cupboards. We can't eat anything. So what do we do? And I'm like, and then I said, you refer to your notes I gave you, and this is where you start putting into your cupboard what is better for your body. So there was an awareness around just that all those foods, the Ritz crackers and the white bread and the cookies and the cakes and the mixes and everything, pastas, right? All had the same ingredients. So it's too much of the same food going into your body all the time when it's all that packaging. Even changing out crackers from saltines to buying almond flour crackers. The difference is huge because what you're messaging into your body, food is a messaging system, I always say. So the little one, they did this for a couple of weeks, and I said, now we're going to do a little FaceTime. They were adding their foods back in, they dumped their cupboards. And I said, what's the overall feeling in your house right now? And she said, we're all happier. We're
Can't
all
believe they did
happier.
that. That's so amazing. They must have been in rough shape in order to make those changes, were
They
they?
were, and it was as a family because, there was no awareness around how important food is, or even that they were living on the packaged foods.
Yeah.
Because we're a fast society, we're running to fast food places, and now we're trying to clean that up a little bit out there as well. So, and when we start a new year, we always want to look at what we're eating because a lot of
Yeah.
people do diets. Well, diets don't work.
No.
Eating plans work, nutrition
Mm-hmm.
plans work, cleaning out your cupboard, making sure, if you got a craving for chocolate or snacks, that something's there that you can have a little treat that's not as damaging as white flour, white sugar, and high calorie, empty foods.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you,
I don't buy the stuff that I don't, because if I buy it, I'll eat it. So
of
I'm
course,
lucky that I live alone. When I go visit my sister, I mean, she's a super healthy eater, but she also has a teenage son and as they're both, skinny husband and skinny son, that they can eat whatever they want, even though it's going to catch up to them eventually. But she has a whole drawer of like the best like snacks and chips and pretzels and
mm,
all this stuff that I never eat and never have in my house. Now I don't overindulge because it's been so many years now, but when it's there, there's more of a temptation.
always, always, always. And same thing around Christmas, around Halloween. There's more of these treats, and we know these times are coming, right? So people, get the candy into the house, get it ready to give to the kids, and they're picking at it. They're passing by and they're grabbing a caramel or a Tootsie Roll or a little snack of Smarties or a bag of chips. Like it's there, especially in houses where there's kids
Yeah.
or men that watch hockey games.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
There's always chips.
There
So
is.
what we want to make sure is that the healthy treats are there as well, and that if we kind of clean up our cupboard, especially in the new year, we're coming out of a really rich, everything's has sugar on it. It's higher calorie. It's some people gain weight over Christmas, so a lot of times it's a good time to look in the cupboard and go, I could make some dates, like candied dates, and just scoop out the middle and put some almond butter in the middle and roll them in dark chocolate or shredded coconut and put them in the fridge in little baggies and, little things like that. Have a batch of healthy cookies. Maybe you have a favorite recipe using almond flour, or make a shortbread using almond flour and butter and quickly whip those up. Or, you know, dark chocolate and some nuts and seeds. I mean, these are some superfoods, hemp hearts and chia seeds. Nobody's going to whip up a chia seed pudding like right away. But if it's made up in the fridge and you've got your coconut milk and a tablespoon of chia seeds and some blueberries or a really yummy fruit, and you've blended it and put it in the fridge, it's like a little pudding. So it depends
Yes.
on what
So
you
good.
crave. Yeah. Depends on what you crave. Some people it's mousse or, yeah.
It does take prep time. The challenge that I mean, I have time on my hands. I love prepping. I love cooking. I have an amazing kitchen, but it's challenging for people that don't have the time, that don't have the knowledge, that don't love cooking so much. That's how we got into this mess to begin with. All these packaged foods is the convenience. Cause as you mentioned, we're such a busy culture. So where do you, I mean, I love the idea of a clean out at the beginning of the year. That sounds great. Just looking at what's in your cupboard and
Mm-hmm.
making sure you have. Is that where you start with everybody or?
I do. And I say, look at your chip cupboard, like even if you have a bag of chips, the kids they're not going to throw it all out. Just make sure the chips are three ingredients: is potatoes, salt, and oil.
Yeah.
So a lot of potato chips, there's 8, 9, 10 ingredients, especially if they are flavored. So, you don't have to be without the chip, but just do a little bowl, mix in some trail mix or nuts, and just change up what's going into your mouth. Like if it's a potato chip and then you eat a nut, you kind of change the command. Your taste buds go, oh, I thought I was on the chip train. Okay, now I've gone to nuts. So it kind of slows down digestion a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we end up eating less of, the more calorie laden foods. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I've been craving chips and dip, like a French onion dip. And I can't bring myself to buy, the McCormick's onion dip that
Yeah.
everybody would, the package you put in sour
Yeah.
cream. Cause I can eat sour cream. And so I, I didn't have any in my house cause I wouldn't buy it. So last night I'm like, well, I can make my own. So
Yes.
I grabbed garlic powder and onion powder and everything but the bagel powder, like so
Mm-hmm.
it had some, and then I had these little garlic chunks, these little black garlic chunks that were like fermented garlic, and it was like the best onion dip ever. And then I used plantain chips instead of potato chips because that's all I had because I don't
And
buy
what
potato
did
chips.
you use? Did you use like a coconut yogurt or a
No, no,
mayo?
no, I can eat sour cream. I don't have a problem with
Or
dairy.
you mixed it into your sour cream?
Oh hell yeah, because you told me
Yeah.
to eat more fermented foods. Sour
Yes.
cream.
Yes, right. It is fermented. And there is a dairy-free sour cream. So a lot
Yes,
of times people
absolutely.
use coconut milk yogurt or soy milk yogurt, and then add the herbs, the garlic and herbs, and you can make a spread using it. So, but and a lot of these are out there and they're quick and we can grab them, which are good too. So yeah. It's just those superfoods that we want to make sure we have lots of, is that we keep lots of berries around, fresh and frozen, and lots of nuts, walnuts, Brazil nuts, almonds, macadamia nuts, even. Like just mix them up. If you want to make a little, like a pie crust with just nuts, just blend up the nuts and pack them into the pan.
Eh,
These are quick little things.
Yeah. Well, it's quick for those of us who know. But and yeah, I wish there was, yeah. It's
Yeah,
so
but that's
funny.
pretty
There's
quick. Just think about it. If you got a little, like even a spice grinder or a little tiny magic bullet or NutriBullet or a Vitamix, just even a spice grinder. You can take a handful of nuts and grind them, and then it's powder. And then you pack that into the pan. Now, if you want to use a little bit of butter or a little bit of oil, you can, but it works just as plain as that, just to use the nuts by themselves. It works, and it bakes in the bottom, and then you can add berries on top, and then, yeah, make little tiny muffin ones even.
And, Colleen and I keep all of our nuts in the freezer.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because because they do, like, flaxseed goes rancid quite quickly. And I mean, they all really, nuts can go rancid, especially if you buy, because a lot of times we don't, like, you and I use nuts every single day, but like Colleen and I buy nuts in bulk, like big ones. And so
Mhm.
actually, she told me to buy a deep freeze, actually, cause just to hold our nuts, because
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
have a big, huge freezer. And but it's not meat that we eat. It's the nuts in the freezer.
Yeah. And the flaxseed, I always tell people, don't buy it milled, buy it whole, so
Right.
that you grind it as you use it, because
Right.
it will go rancid once it's been milled. And to grind it, you're releasing that amazing omega in it. So,
Yeah.
and that's a quick way of getting your omegas in if you're not a big fish eater. That's the key to a really bright brain, and just sharpness in your thinking and clarity is with, omegas. You've got chia seeds, hemp hearts, the nuts and seeds. Avocado is a superfood, amazing superfood. Another one that people go, I don't know. I don't really like the texture. Well, throw it in a smoothie. Mix up your smoothie. Like tonight now, I just mixed up my smoothie for tomorrow, because sometimes my morning's busy. So I'll just mix up the smoothie. And another little trick is make a batch. If you want to make enough for a few days, then pour it into ice cube trays and freeze them. And then take them as cubes. And then as you go about your day, just throw them in your little thermos and drink it. You can even do teas like that, which are fun. Make up your tea, add some lemon and lemon zest, and some oil of oregano to it if you like, some mint, your tea, freeze them, and then throw the cubes in your container, and going out the door, add the hot water.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Very
lots of,
smart.
and it is a prep thing, but a lot of the peeps out there, they do love to have some things that you're prepared for it. And when we go into the new year, that's taking this opportunity, because we're all doing it. We all say, starting the new year, I'm making a resolution. I want to eat better. I want to clean up my diet. I'm cleaning out my cupboard. Okay. And so do that every season. Don't
Yeah.
wait till next year. Do that in the fall, the
We do
winter.
that with our closets.
We do. We
We
clean
do
it
it with
out.
our car.
We do. Yep. And then even your danger foods, like I don't like deprivation, right? I say to people, if you feel deprived because you can't have something, then that's not going to work. You know, if you love potatoes and you give up potato chips, or you love chocolate and you give up chocolate, it's just a matter of time before your little microorganisms in there are just going, I see chocolate. Like, and it's you against billions, right? Like, who's going to win? So, but the superfoods are, even coffee, caffeine, like in small amounts. Some people do well with coffee, dark coffee, black tea, green tea, matcha, chai tea. You can even make teas and add chai tea to your muffins. And you get
Yeah.
this lovely flavor, instead of using water as your liquid, use the chai tea. Like, there's all kinds of little ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's great. And
Yeah,
you don't
but
need
yeah.
to buy the boxed or the powdered chais. That's my challenge when I go get a chai anywhere at Starbucks or anything. I'm like, is it boxed? Is it liquid? Is there sugar in it? And usually there always is pre-made, pre-sugar. I made myself a fresh batch of chai today, and I
Oh,
grind my ginger and
I love it. We put cardamom, black pepper, cinnamon sticks, fresh ginger. Um, what else? I'm looking in my
clove,
cupboard now in my head.
clove.
Cloves. Love it. And boil it on the stove. I don't even put any tea in mine. I don't like some people put black tea or green tea into the water with all those herbs. And yeah, I just make it like that and I drink it. I add a little lemon or a little stevia or a
Or
little
soy
honey.
milk in it.
You can add soy milk or almond milk to it, but
Yeah. And it
just
smells the
those
whole
herbs.
house.
Oh, it's delicious. And just those herbs, like that's Christmassy to me. I love the chai.
So
Yeah,
good.
it's so good. And it again, it's superfoods because it's cinnamon. Cinnamon's a superfood. Cloves. Cloves is amazing for your blood. Black pepper is amazing for your blood sugar. Yeah.
Ginger. So good.
Ginger, your digestive system. Like it's all just amazing,
Yeah. And one of
amazing
my
thing.
favorite things to do that my people love is in the winter too. I have a chai and then I have my lemon ginger. And so I will take ginger juice. You can order it on Amazon. It's actually fresh squeezed ginger
Yummy.
juice. It's concentrate. A little goes a long way. You can add that to your chai. You can add that to your. So I added some to some butternut squash soup the other day, but I make this
Yum.
lemon ginger tea where I use nettle tea or you can use tulsi as the
Mhm.
base. And then you do, everybody wants this recipe. So, and then you grind fresh ginger or slice fresh ginger, put it in a pot with water. And then I do the lemon zest plus the fresh lemons and then sweeten to taste. I usually use like half stevia and half like I put maybe a little bit of honey in it as well, just to sweeten it up a
Nice.
little bit.
Yeah.
And everybody, and you can add fresh turmeric if you want. Sometimes I'll add a little bit because the grocery stores now carry fresh turmeric. And
Hmm.
I'll make that and give it to my yogis for tea afterwards. But that's a great thing to have because it's so good for your digestion and your
It's amazing.
everything, right?
It's great for your immune system. It's just, and even the smells, are amazing for you got all your senses activated and the smells just, just brings memories back and it makes you feel good and it's aromatherapy and yeah, it's really good. And again, turmeric is another superfood and those teas are a good way of getting your superfoods in and your anti-inflammatory foods is what they are. So, yeah.
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 So, and then one thing that I learned a few years ago too, and what I'm careful with is, I love Trader Joe's because they have these packaged organic foods, and so does Costco for that matter, packaged organic cut cauliflower, cut broccoli,
Mhm.
cabbages already sliced. Now, if any of those foods, if you can get them not packaged and slice it yourself, that's number one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like fresh first, frozen next, packaged last, canned
Yeah.
last,
And
right?
even
Yeah.
organic packaging, I found out what they did years ago. I found out that they put preservatives on the packaging itself. And that's how they are able to preserve these organic foods. That's why your packaged broccoli can last in your fridge for 2 weeks because it
Yeah.
has preservatives. So when you unpack anything from a package, even if it's organic,
Yeah. Wash it.
wash it with what's your recipe for washing
I
vegetables?
I use dish soap and water or vinegar and water.
Yeah.
Vinegar is it's amazing to get everything off it. I mean, if you soaked raspberries in vinegar and water, your raspberries last a lot longer. They mold pretty quickly. Yeah, so all the packaging foods, we want to try and avoid them as much as we can. And
But
even
they're
with
going to
meat.
happen though, Ed. They're
Oh
going to
yeah, it's going to
people are
be there, but
yeah.
but when it comes to fresh, like that's why in the winter it's a little more, in the New Year's a little more challenging. In the summers we got farmers and we have markets and we have a lot more options then because it's growing season. So it's okay. Just remember to wash your produce. That's all. And
Even
again,
if it says it's triple washed,
yep,
you
yep,
want to
just
wash
rinse
it
it.
when it comes out with soap and or just a cup, teaspoon of vinegar and a whole gallon of water is all you need,
Yeah.
right?
I just fill the sink and I
Yeah.
dump I dump the water and I wash all my fruits and vegetables at once and then I put them
Yeah.
in the fridge. Yeah.
That's a restaurant technique, as you said about the raspberries, to add vinegar with water and
Mhm.
wash all the vegetables. That the restaurants, they do all that with their vegetables and then put them in containers and they last longer.
They do. They
Yeah.
do. It's really good. And my daughter's really good when we just did a Costco's run and it's hard. A single mom got, you know, the kids and they love fruit and fruit's expensive. The little pack of strawberries were $14. I couldn't believe it here. 14. And I'm going, okay, so what do we split half on? And we end up she takes them home and she washes them all really well and puts them in jars with their names on it. So they each get their own jar of strawberries. It's really cute. So
Oh,
I know. So of course, I'm like,
she's got to
okay,
be your daughter.
yeah, yeah. And she just labels it all. So they get their, of course, they have their other foods that, kids are going to eat. Like they got their, what do you call them? Those goldfish and beer paws and all that. But, they'll grab those. But if they're doing the strawberries or some fruit with it, then it's okay. Their little bodies can metabolize all this stuff. But again, we just want to be careful with the package. And I know all the moms out there, that say, "Oh, it's challenging." Even the grandmas, they're telling the kids want that food. They want, bacon and they want processed meats and da 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 da. I'm like, I know, but we got to do the best we can. Got to do
My
the best we can.
nieces, when I was so excited when they came to California to visit me years ago when they were young. Now they're now 25 and 26, but when they were like 9 and 10 years old, I was living in San Diego. So they came and stayed with me in San Diego, and their mom and dad, of course, my brother and my sister-in-law. And I was so excited that we walked along the beach and that I'd bought fresh oranges at the market, and I wanted to because I knew they'd never had fresh squeezed orange juice. So I got
Mm-hmm.
my little juice route and I was so excited. I was showing them and they were all enthralled and everything. And then they take a sip and they're like, and it wasn't sour at all. It was super sweet. And they're like, "What's that?" It was the pulp.
Yeah,
Though I had to strain the pulp out of it. So delicious. Like those of us who
I
know
know.
the
I
beauty of
love it.
fresh squeezed orange juice is like, but they, and of course it's like you always say, it's like you have to get used to it. And they probably feel different about it now, but it was so funny to see their little faces then.
Yeah. Well, I always use them because they're great at educating me as well. And we were even looking at Gatorade the other day, and Gatorade for the sports drinks, and it's the foods that people grab really quickly. And we found one called Fit that was sweetened with stevia. It had 1 gram of sugar, and it used stevia as the sweetener. So I'm looking at it, going, "Oh my gosh, you guys can actually drink this. I'm going to buy this." And they're like, "You're going to buy Gatorade?" I'm like, "This one, not the other ones.
It didn't
This
have the
one.
coloring in it.
No coloring. No coloring. Nope.
Wow.
Nope. Nope. It had no additives. It was just,
Wow.
it was called Gatorade Fit. And I think it was a strawberry flavor, but it was real pale. Yeah. Just like cranberry now, they have a pink one and it's using stevia. So again, it says low sugar, 10 calories. And every time I see that, I go, okay, what artificial sweetener did they use? And I look, and is there Splenda, sucralose, aspartame? No. Wow. What did they use? I wonder. And it's either stevia or monk fruit. And those we can use.
Yeah, because those are both actual foods. So stevia is a plant that I grow in my yard,
Yeah. Yep.
comes from Africa. And the fun fact, the sugar and the aspartame, the fake sugar companies and the sugar companies kept it out of North America. I don't know about Canada, but kept it out of the U.S. for 20 years. They could only use it in cosmetics for many years. And it was
Yes.
only 15, 18 years ago that they started to be able to use it. Maybe 15, they started to be able to use it in foods that they brought it in. And it was just a plant.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
I
the
grew it too.
leaves.
It looks like mint, and I'll never forget it when I was growing it in Nashville and I bit into the leaf and it was so sweet. It was so sweet. So, that's amazing. And when we look at white sugar and Splenda and sucralose, a lot of people don't even know where they come from. I'm like, it's
Well, and
all,
white sugar, I mean, is from sugar cane. But what it is for people that don't know this, in India, we have these trucks that are carrying the sugar canes. It looks like bamboo, but thicker. And they squeeze the juice out of it. And then you get the brown turbinado, which is, super sweet sugar that
mhm,
has all kinds of minerals in it,
yeah,
which
it's
used
raw.
in moderation is okay. But
Hmm.
then the white sugar, all of the minerals are stripped out of it. And that's exactly what white flour is too. You
Yeah.
take a wheat and you grind it down. And I grind my own wheat berries here. And it
Mm-hmm.
has, I think, wheat has about, I think, 36 or 38 nutrients in it.
Mm-hmm.
But they take out 12 of those nutrients in flour, whether it's wheat flour or white flour that you buy, because if they don't, it'll go rancid. Just like what you're saying about the flax,
Well,
it'll go
yeah.
rancid.
Well, if you look at, and a lot of my patients when they come in, they go, "Oh my God, I didn't even think of that." I said, "Look at your bag of flour in the cupboard. does it say bleached or unbleached? They're like, it says bleached. I'm like, why are you eating bleached food? Oh my God. I never, I just didn't think of it like that. I'm like, yeah, it's literal. That's, because it makes the white bread whiter.
Whiter.
But, all these processed foods, these undigested particles, I mean, they got to clear out somewhere. And who knows? What does it contribute to? Polyps, cysts? I don't know, like calcium, kidney stones, like what's going on with all this stuff in there? So the cleaner we are, the less we have to accumulate. That's my
Yeah.
philosophy. Yeah.
What do you
So
say about accumulate and eliminate? What's your saying about that?
we're either accumulating toxins or eliminating toxins.
Yes.
So that's why water's a superfood.
Are you
Superfood.
drinking your immunity as you always do?
I am my echinacea and zinc
And
immunity.
are teas a superfood too?
Yes,
I
they
guess,
are.
yeah.
Green tea is quite the superfood. So green tea is amazing. Um, yeah, all of those beautiful superfoods, hemp hearts, all of our vegetables, our dark leafy greens. They oxygenate our cells. They have chlorophyll in them, which are alkalining. Coconut, ginger, turmeric, garlic, mushrooms, anything fermented, kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha, our coconut milk,
Sour cream
seaweed.
yogurt.
Yeah, even seaweed, sea vegetables like kelp and nori and dulse, wakame. We don't eat enough of those, I don't think, in North America. They're huge in Japan and Asian countries, It's yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. But
Well,
they're important. And, our dark chocolate and nuts and seeds and all that stuff. So if we get into the habit of like adding in those superfoods and then having our spices and we have our little mixes that we make, like we might have a 5 spice mix, or we might have an Italian seasoning mix, right? Make sure there's no MSG and additives in those mixes, because it's really easy to make your own. Like even an everything bagel spice mix is easy. You can Google it and it'll give you
yeah,
all the
that's a point
ingredients.
I wanted to make too. It's like a friend of mine kind of became famous on TikTok making all the different, spice packets that you buy at the store. She makes them herself and shows people how to make an Italian mix and you can just take a picture of the mix or go onto YouTube and you've got all
Yeah,
the spices to put together, and then you don't have all the anticoagulant and all that
yeah.
stuff, and the too much salt and the sugar. They usually add sugar to them too.
Well,
And if you
even if
want a
you're
little sweetener in it, you can just add a little bit of stevia in your
Yeah.
package
Stevia or
or in
monk
your own.
fruit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
in your
even
own mixture.
making like marinara sauces or pasta sauces. It's really easy. Just get your tomato base, whether you squash up your own tomatoes or you have, these are one of the things you can have in your cupboard is canned pulp tomatoes or tomato paste, coconut milk, right? By the can, because we want to have some staples in our cupboard to whip up a quick food, right? So, and some people go, I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to make anything. I don't know how to do fish. I'm like, take fish and wrap it in parchment paper with onion and olive oil and bake it in the oven for 25 minutes.
Yeah, you
That's your
taught
fish.
me that because even though I've been cooking for many years, fish eluded me, and then you told me about the parchment thing, and so now I do that all the time.
And you don't have to dirty up a plate. You can just put it right on the plate in the parchment paper.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's another superfood, it's a high omega, it's a good protein. Eggs, are really great omega rich farm raised eggs. And we have staples, packaged meats, we want to stay away from as much as we can. um it's just, it's better if you're going to have chicken, slice chicken, buy chicken, slice it. We get kind of into habits of getting luncheon meats and processed meats, but what they do is they add more sodium, more chemicals. Like there's a lot of shit in those
In
packaged
sliced
meats.
meats, deli meats,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness gracious, a lot. Preservatives to keep it fresh. And yeah, we want even dairy products like cheese. And choose the cheese that's, you have to grind and you or grate, and you have to cut and slice, and just watch the pre-packaged sliced shredded.
Cheeses even, yeah, they have additives in them to keep them fresh or to keep them
Mhm.
separated. Yeah.
Yeah, and our breads, go for the sprouted stuff. And whole grains, and if you see the word enriched or it's a white bread, like even whole wheat, if it says enriched, they were using a lot of white flour in them. So just go, into the health section and buy a sourdough bread, even though it could be made with white flour, it's fermented. So it's
Yep.
not as
It's
harmful.
pre-digested when it's fermented,
Yes. And we need those
broken down.
fermented foods, yeah, to break things down, to feed our good bacteria, to feed our gut.
Yeah, I want to share a trick that Eddi and I do with our beets. So, because you can get pickled beets that your mom makes or that you get at the store or your grandma makes, usually has a lot of sugar in it. And
And
we do.
why? I always say that to my peeps. Why? Because when I tell them eat pickled beets, they're like, oh, I put white sugar in mine. I'm like, why? She goes, well, my mother did it. I said, exactly.
Yeah.
And her mother did it.
Yeah.
So we break some of the traditions and go, well, even in mustard pickles, like they use mustard, turmeric, cucumbers, vinegar, and then they go, oh, I got to make it thicker. I'll just put flour in it. Well, just add cornstarch, or even Metamucil will thicken, which is psyllium husk.
That's
You know?
hilarious. Eddi's new pickle recipe with Metamucil.
Yep. It's got psyllium husk, and it actually thickens, and you have a good poop the next day. It's excellent.
So what Eddi and I do with our beets is I buy well, they are packaged because I don't like cooking beets because you get red everywhere, but I do grow beets sometimes and will cook them. So I get these little packaged beets and I slice them and then put them in a mixture in a bowl that goes in the fridge of water and a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar. And then if I want some sweet, I'll put a little bit of stevia in it. And then I put the beets in, and within 24 hours, actually within a couple of hours, they taste like the most amazing pickled beets ever.
Absolutely. I do that with my beets, with carrots, with asparagus, with cucumbers, and I just do half water, half vinegar, and it's perfect. And again, like you said, yeah, if someone wants it salty or sweet, then add a little bit of Himalayan salt, or add, that little bit of monk fruit, or what flavor you want, but don't add white sugar or Splenda or sucralose. They're just not the right sugars. They're troublemakers. I
Yeah.
call them troublemakers of food.
Yeah.
Diet sodas and diet drinks, and, even flavor your own water. Take that opportunity to just grab a handful of watermelon and squeeze it into your water. Let cucumbers sit, or celery sit in your jar of water, and keep it in the fridge. And
So good.
Your celery will last 2 weeks. So you can just pull out your celery and use it to cook, and then drink the water from the jug. So
Just make sure you wash the celery first.
before you put it in your water jug.
Yeah, that you're going to
Yes.
drink. Yeah.
Yes, I always wash it and put it in there. So, just a few little tips for just how to clean out the cupboard, and start with one cupboard. Start with the packaged one, the crackers, and go for you know, at Costco's, I know they have Mary's crackers, and there's gluten-free ones, and there's almond flour crackers. They're delicious. They're not
Yeah.
as dangerous as white flour, there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
These regular
No, I feel
crackers.
now that I'm off keto and I can do crunchy salty again, I do kind of crave that. And so I just buy at Costco a big container of almond flour crackers that
Yeah,
you always have some at your house too. You can use them, to dip in guacamole. You and I did when I was at
absolutely.
your place, or anything, and that gets my salty, crunchy, snacky fix. Yeah, when
Yes.
I have it.
Yeah, it's good. And that's what you want to pay attention to. People will have a crunchy or sweet flavor. It's just, or a craving for something hot or cold, or, textures. That's going to keep changing. And as we get older, it keeps changing. So, don't deprive yourself of that treat. Just make sure the treat is a treat. It's not harmful to your body. It's actually a healing food.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once we start feeling really good, and we go, oh, I'm not eating that because that has that. And then I make these dates, or, and I add certain things to it. Then that starts to become your go-to. And next, you're bringing that to the Christmas party, and everyone's looking forward to your blueberry vegan walnut crusted pie. Like, it will happen, Corinne.
That was
She
funny.
laughs.
Blueberry vegan walnut crusted pie
with slivered almonds on top,
and
sprinkled
coconut cream.
with magic and fairy dust.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, any other bits of wisdom for the new year, Ed?
No, keep it real as much as you can. Eat living and along with the dead. Eat the living foods along with the dead.
It's right.
And if your cupboard doesn't get clean this week, plan it for next week.
That's right. It's always a chance to restart. You can restart any week or any season or any day. It doesn't have to be the new year. So happy new year to everybody. We hope you're staying well and happy. This is a deep dive in the new year of our recommendations from Dr. Eddi.
What's in your cupboard?
What is in your cupboard? Don't forget to subscribe and share with other people. Share the love, spread the love. We appreciate it.